Good evening, everyone. I'm Lissy Bastien. It's great having you with us. It's January the 15th. The signing of the first formal industrial agreement for the Consultant Physician Staff Association, CPSA, marks a significant step between the Public Hospitals Authority and the association. Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands and CPSA President Dr. Sabrika Pinder-Butler were on hand for the historic signing. Dr. Sands, in highlighting the significance of this industrial agreement, says it strengthens relations between the consultant doctors and the public institutions in which they provide care.
Key elements of the industrial agreement include a base salary increase, lump sum payments, and an increase in extra hours allowance. PHA recognizes that fair labor agreements have the potential to create higher wage and benefit standards, working hours, and working condition parameters. It also has workplace hazard protections and other factors. Union agreements can also promote employee well-being by encouraging democratic participation and a sense of community among workers at every level. And so it's important to note that fair agreements don't just happen. It takes time, patience, and most importantly, goodwill on both sides to achieve them.
The contract spans a 5-year period retroactive July 1st, 2016 to June 30th, 2021, and represents a comprehensive compensation package that allows the CPSA to be in line with increases with other public servants.
Nonetheless, we were able to develop an industrial agreement that was acceptable to all parties and look forward to further improvement during our next negotiations expected to begin next year. The CPSA remains committed to ensure that high-quality health care is delivered to the Bahamian public.
CPSA President Dr. Pinder-Butler called it a monumental day for the association and says that the association is satisfied, although it had hoped for a more expeditious process. Dr. Sands added that the agreement formally recognizes that the physicians have a seat at the table. Minister of Disaster Preparedness Iron Lewis says a number of non-governmental organizations remain in the country to date, 4 months after the passage of Hurricane Dorian. After the immediate passage of the storm, the international aid agencies rushed to the Bahamas with much-needed life-saving aid for the survivors of the devastating storm.
Most of the agencies are still the Samaritan Purse, which is a major NGO. They are still here. In fact, I'm meeting with the CEO, Mr. Franklin Graham in Freeport on Friday morning. They are here. Team Rubicon had left, but I believe a part of the team is coming back here. Medical Corps, the International Food Services, Food Kitchen, USAID, all being sponsored by the American government. As was stated during the pledge yesterday, they will be giving those NGOs, as well as the International Red Cross, they will be giving those agencies additional funding to stay in the Bahamas much longer.
It is estimated that Hurricane Dorian caused $3.4 billion in losses and damages when it tore through the northwest Bahamas in early September. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis noted in November 2019 that the Samaritan's Purse, which signed a memorandum of understanding with the Ministry of Health, was set to target 1,000 permanent home repairs. On Monday, nearly 300 local and international delegates attended the United Nations Development Program Pledge Conference. The pledges included initiatives in home building and repair, educational assistance, renewable energy partnerships, relief aid, grants, direct assistance to storm victims, parks restoration, and loans and financing. The month of March is expected to present the most challenges for Bahamas tourism, but Tourism Minister Dionisio Diagla says his ministry is working to mitigate the problems that may affect tourism in the first quarter of the year.
You know, as we look through the first quarter, March is our only concerning month, but we know that now, and so we can mobilize resources to try and close the gap between last year and this year.
Mr. Diagla says the month of January, February, and April are the most promising months for the sector.
If you look 3 or 4 months out, the numbers can be quite depressing, but as you get closer to that month, the numbers improve drastically and dramatically. So what that is telling us is as potential visitors learn about the Bahamas and okay, everything is fine and they get a comfort level, they're booking. So they're booking later than they were in the past, but they're booking nonetheless.
The minister says there is a noticeable difference in tourism figures when compared to last year. He says Abaco was the Bahamas' second busiest market for tourism, but suffered loss due to the devastating blow of Hurricane Dorian. This, he says, affected the overall tourism numbers. However, Mr. Diagla says tourism in Grand Bahama is rebounding and may just rebound quicker than Abaco. He acknowledges that Abaco is still a long way to go in returning to normal due to infrastructural damages. Mr. Diagla says his ministry will make up for tourism numbers in the other islands of the Bahamas. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Alive.